say before I go further? It doesn't say a thing, I think, on that. Let's make this. And there's another pasuk he brings. V'aimer you l'sorecha, v'shikui las mesach. It will be literally it'll be a refuah for your concern. It will be a draught for your bones. It helps your arthritis. V'aimer eitz chayim l'machzikim b'besevchem u'usha. V'ayrech yevim b'mina b'shmoy l'ashav v'chavayt. They're a jewel to your head. They're like a choker to your throat. That's for women. Put on your head a jewel, a teres tifers to magnecha, and this crown will protect you. So from this whole thing, we can come to a conclusion that what are we talking about? It's a jewel. We talk about a refuah, and yet we call it a jewel. So what does it mean? What does refuah have to do with a jewel? What does it mean? It's a choker to your throat. It's an ateris to your head. Sehr schön. Was hat das zu tun mit dem ganzen Geschäft? So the jewel does what? It's an ornamentation. It gives you a certain quality of life. Okay, stature, that's what it's called. That's what the jewel does, okay? It bestows upon you a certain stature. Ask the women in the house and they'll explain it to you, okay? There are Zechorim which also care about these things. That's why they're mutter to wear certain things on Shabbos now, because it's a tachshit. We used to have a man doesn't usually have a tachshit, but time to get Zeiten, that's the way it is. But that's the gedder. So he gives you a certain amount of stature. Now, why would anybody want a Schaffhausen watch outside of you getting as a present for your grandchildren? So what are you going to do? You remember your grandchildren. But what's the Achmados? You really think it makes a difference? You can buy a cheap Casio. It's the same thing. Okay? And the answer is it gives you a certain feeling of stature, of importance. And that's what it gives you. It nurtures your ego. And people pay a lot of money for having a nurtured ego. Like the people pay psychologists, dietitians. What do? They all nurture your ego. Let me tell you, I've been to dietitians. You know, you want to lose weight because you don't want to feel bad. She says, Rabbi, you gained 100 grams and you feel so small. She has the intelligent quotient of a cockroach, but it doesn't matter. She makes you feel small because she's nurturing your ego. This is the way it is. You pay for people to pat you on the back and to challenge your ego. That's what you do when you go to a psychologist. Let me tell you, I know. To a nutritionist, to all these things. There are people that you're asking this little lady that to nurture your ego, and you pay for it. So Livia is chayin means that. So what does it mean? It's a relief to your bones. Doesn't mean that it heals your arthritis. It means it gives you your stature. It's al derech, like the Gemara says, the pasuk says, Rekiv atzama kina. If you have jealousy, your bones deteriorate. It doesn't mean you have a lack of calcium. It means to say that it destroys your stature, your yourself. A jealous person is a person which lacks confidence in himself. That's why he's jealous. That's a davar pasha. So we're talking about shikui atzma. It means that. So chayim means it gives you a sense of real life. A life means a life of independence, a life of meaning and purpose, not a life which constantly is looking for what to do because he doesn't know what to do with himself. And that's what it says. The Torah gives you a meaningful life to the extent that it gives you the stature of a jewel, and obviously it also gives you meaning and purpose in Eilam Haba. That's Mustama the Pshat here. Weiter Nocham Mishnah Reb Shimon ben Menashe Mishur Bryce. Reb Shimon ben Menashe Mishur Reb Shimon ben Yochai Omer. Hanoi, V'Akoyach, V'Aoisher, Oisher with an ayin, V'Akovoid, and Kleinigkeit, V'Azikna, V'Aseva, V'Abonim. You know, Zikna and Seva are two separate things, as we know. They're different ages. Noy l'tzadikim and noy l'olam. In other words, the beauty would be if beauty, strength, wealth, public stature, and ultimately Zikna v'Seva and proper children, this would be the perfect thing to fit a person who is really righteous. Shenema ateres tiferes seva, but ateres tiferes seva. But der tzedakah timotze. When you're a person which goes in der tzedakah, this is what should be found. Ateres tiferes seva. V'imert ateres zikenim b'nei banim. V'iter 8 o'clock. That's what it says. But tiferes banim avayse. V'imert tiferes bachurim koicham. The beauty of youth is the strength and the vigor, and the majesty of elder age is the idea of wisdom. That's called seva. The idea that you have a lot of understanding. That's why there's Allah v'adarta pnei zakeh, misha kana chachma, as we discussed. So do we see here that the uniqueness of it, when you're young, it's important to have vigor and creativity. You're out to save the world and build new skyscrapers of ideas. But then finally, you have to be able to take things in and understand them in depth. And that's what Zikna and Seva is. Ki molech Hashem tzvakas ba'atzion u'b'Yerushalayim. The negative skeinav kavod. V'shtated kavod is connected skeinav. So what do we see? Reb Shimon Menashe Emer Elu Sheva Midas Shemachon Chacham LaTzadikim Kulim Niskayim B'Rebbe U'B'Banav. They were Zaychetaka to all these things. It means to say that the person which is in the right place, he's saying that Rebbe was in the right place. That's called a tzaddik. And what do we know about Rebbe? Rebbe know that he never put his fingers under his belt. And he said he was never Nenem Oil Mazek Etzba Ktana. That's unfortunately Gemara. That's the person which is the tzaddik. And he has all these great things. Okay, what we're trying to say that these good things were made for that person. The Gemara, which says something interesting, the Gemara says that Ma'aretz also le'nechel basar. L'chayre, if we would be in the times of the Gemara, the butcher that you go into before you buy a steak, he gives you a faher. But what's gestes and basar? You're not Ma'aretz. You should have a bechin. Money's not enough. You have to have a bechina. What do you know if you're not more? It's also lechol bas. It's often the Gemara. Okay, that's the world. That should be. All these things were made for the right people. Elamai, we don't live that way. We have a different perspective. We should all be vegetarians. The person which is zaychet to eat basar is a person which is another type of a person. What the Havana behind this? Because the Havana of Eil Mazal was made for understanding its purpose and using it and elevating it. But if you're going to fresh basar, not for using it for the right purpose and elevating it, taking those energies and translating it into avodas Hashem v'chulu, das heißt am Oretz, which doesn't live with that awareness. So most of us don't. We know about it theoretically, but highly doubt the next time you sat down for a decent steak in a restaurant, said, Baruch Hashem, now mamish, just like you make a bracha, you have to have a certain understanding of what you're doing. Before you made the bracha, you're a gazlan. The world was made for birur advarim. And what do you do if you're not Morris? You wouldn't know what to do even when you said the bracha. You don't know what you're talking about. And then you're going to use it afterwards to do what? I don't know, have to have koyach to go bowling on a Saturday night, whatever. Ich mein nebacher achmanis on all that meat you ate on Shabbos. Posher achmanis sarba lachain. The poor animal lived its life, and it was expecting to be misaled through koyches of avodas Hashem. You took it and you threw it in its dumps, and he was sure that this is going into the neshama of a ben teire. There it says that's not what it is, and that's maintenance. Amos also lechol basar. This is made for tzaddikim. When we talk the idea of noi, kavod, va'aisher, this is for tzaddikim because they're supposed to take this life and afterwards use it for a higher reality. What did happen when you see noi and koyach and aisher v'kavod? What you're seeing is a ma'aseh gazel. It's not. They took something from its purpose and they're using it for something else. Like most things in our lives, we take things which are not meant for us or meant for a certain thing, and we translate and use it differently. This is what this Mishnah says. All these things that Kodesh Baruch Hu put in reality for tzaddikim. One more, and that's enough. This is so beautiful. There must be a song on this. He was nice. He's supposed to be magdim shalom lechavere. Why did he wait for the person to say shalom? Basically, I come from Meisir Gdolim V'Seifrim. I come from Keren B'Yavne. Amarli, Rebbe, come live with me in London. Amalti lo imatanaisi call kesef is over avadim tevish margosh the whole Tower of London you give me. Any door el b'mokim Torah. Why the fish of shafti also shall odem a malavin le odem le kesef le zohav lavadim tevish margolis le Torah ma'asim tem belvad should never be salecha tancha oischa v'shach v'cha tishma alecha v'akitzoisa itisichecha b'salocha. When you walk, it'll teach you what to do, guide you in this world. And when you lay down forever, this will wake you up. God says, Leah Kesef. God has the Kesef. Leah Zav Numash and Smokas. I don't understand what he's telling him. I didn't tell you not to learn, not to do all the great things in the world. I'm just telling you, come to be a teacher in this place. It's in the middle of Savannah or Birmingham or wherever else. This place, Gates America, Gates to go to Greenland. I'm telling you to be a Kiev rabbi. I don't understand. What is the sweat? Why are you telling me this whole thing? That's why I shouldn't go live there. That's the case of Kisma understood, at least for himself, that his growth and religious posture, etc., will not develop the way it should be in this type of a place. It's much more conducive that it should grow the way it goes in a place which is near Malich Chacham B'Sefer. That's what Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma says. Now, what does this mean? Does this mean that the Chatchila we should all only try to live in the Ir Shebelei Chacham B'Sefer? So Lamaisa, the Rama already points out in Allah in his days that we should always try to live in a society which are at least religious, at least people which have good values. We shouldn't become, because a person is nimshach achra the sviva, and he's nimshach after hashchosa and midas and deus. He says it doesn't mean you have to become a seclude, but if you feel that the society is has an impression on you, then you're supposed to leave. Rambam says at that point in time you have to become a hermit. Brings the pasuk in Yirmiyah. You have to go live in the desert if you need be. So I think the acid test is to what extent does it have ashpa on your development in Torah and mitzvahs. It doesn't have to have the whole city. It's okay as long as you have a good kehillah. Maybe that's okay. Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma said that he needed an ir gdolich chacham b'sefer. I don't think that this. I mean, Zeitner Michael. I don't think that every shtetl that Tanoim lived was an ir malich chacham b'sefer. Not everything was Yerushalayim, not everything was Tveria, not everything was Tzipori. There were people, Rabbi Yossi was in Pki'in. What was in Pki'in? We don't know anything except for Rabbi Yossi in Pki'in. Was Pesach in Pki'in? I don't know this to be true. So this is a localized reality that means to say it challenges us all when we make our plans in life to figure where is the place which is most conducive for our religious development in our Avodas Hashem, which is the centrality of Limud Torah. Okay? That's quite subjective. Some people, a Satmar Chassid will tell you the place for him is Mistami and Kias Yoel in Monroe. A Square Chassid will tell you it's Mistami in Square Town near Muncie. Okay, a regular Jew will tell you, what are you talking about? In Yerushalayim. What are you talking about? No, and if you come from the other side of the place, they'll tell you it's in Bnei Brak. Ich weiß. So everything depends on the person. I'm sure that the Meishom de Kiyingala, for him to leave the confines of Bote Ungar and come to these Ir Moli Kaifrim V'Choitim called Harnof, this would be a terrible thing for him. So I think it's subjective. That's what it is. The only ones that don't care about that are the Shluchim. Okay, they obviously create Ir because they have a different protection of their. They don't need Ir Chumali Chacham V'Seifrim. They have, I don't know what. They tie the Shluch Shodim Kemoisai Sumer. They're tied up to the Rebbe by the hip. Kann sein, ich weiß nicht in dem. Aber that's the shot in this Mishnah. Let me get weiter. Okay, let's. We have. I need you to find out. Someone find out what is talking the story. Because how many days do I have? May I find out where they're holding? I got this email message that the Shir Klali is going to be on the Mishnah Kuf Chava. No, since he only said Shir Klali, he didn't say we're all moving there. So I figured I have a good 2-3 days. You'll find out.
I'll find out.
No, 'cause I can't, don't mind doing what I want to do, but I don't want to stick my eyes into people's fingers into people's eyes. Yes. Okay, let's roll over here. Okay, we'll go back to what we started a long time ago and going into the Sachrecha. What are we looking at? We're looking at the Sugi and Daf Kuf Chafei at base. We start with that. That's obviously where the Balamor is. Where the Gemara said, let's go back to this. The Gemara says, what's the story of the Savta? The Gemara says, my Savta, Kuf Chafei, the last line, what's the story of the Savta? Yehuda Amar Lahu, Nichsai L'Savta. Reuben said, my Nechasim should go to grandma, Ubasroi, and afterwards Liyarsoi to my heirs. Hevele Barta, he had a daughter, Eben Nesiva, which was married. Shchiva B'chaya Baila, she passed away during the life of her husband. Ub'chaya Savta, during the life of this grandmother, which was supposed to be the recipient of which was the recipient of Reuben's Nechasim. Basha the Shchiva Savta, after grandma passed on, Osabal, the husband of this daughter, the son-in-law of this Reuben, Katava, he claimed his inheritance. Amar Rav Huna said, Liyarti, Vafila Liyarti Yarti. When I said after Savta, it goes to my heirs, it includes even to the heirs of my heirs. That's the Lashon of the Gemara. Ravana Amar Liyarti. When I said after it goes to my heirs, I meant only to my direct heirs. V'lo Liyarti Yarti, and not to the heirs of my heirs. Look, when we learn the Gemara Kipshutai, it means that when he said Nichse Lach Vacher L'Savta, it means that L'chayra what? That now how does the daughter get it? How does the daughter get it from? Because she's called my heir. So what does it mean? Pashas I would have learned that the pshat is that since Savta has it only during her life, afterwards it goes to who? It goes back to me, and with me being dead, it goes to my heirs. Because why mention the word heir? He's talking l'chayra, not akna. He's talking l'chayra about Yerusha. And if he had sons, so you would say the Yarti, but obviously we're talking he doesn't have sons because the Yerusha. Or does he have sons? Well, what's the case here? Let's look carefully. It says Yerusha, and then it says there's the Yerush of the Yerush. So l'chayra, by saying Yerush of the Yerush, the mashmaras, the pshuta is that he's talking about what? He's talking about that he's coming within Yerusha. And Ravana says the Yarti v'loy Yarti. You have it to your Yerush, but not to the Yerush of the Yerush. Once again, so what does that mean? How is it possible to give it to not the Yerush? The Torah says you only have it, your Yerush, but your Yerush are only for your life. Afterwards, it goes back to my Yerushim, which I have brothers and I have other Yerushim, etc. In other words, it's not cool. It goes back to your Yerush. You only have it a limited reality. And basically, after your death, you chatchila have it for not bequeathing it to your Yerushim, but rather it goes back to my Yerushim. That's the chayra, the pashas of the lashon of the Gemara. But Rashbam doesn't learn that way. Ubasa liyart nichsa l'savta l'skenasi ani nisan kol nechasai aim aviv or aim imai. Ubasa liyartoi acher ma'skenasi lo yirshu yoshim shalah. Kigayin b'na, my uncle, or bitar, or my aunt, or avia, or my great grandfather, or achea, or her brothers, which are my great uncles, Ela Yorshim Shali, who will be Yerush, my Yorshim, Kigaim Beni, or Biti, or Achi, Akarev, Karev, Kaida. So it seems to be talking with first it's a Din Yerusha. The pshat I'm saying, Nichsa, Sapta, Vachrel, the Yarti means afterwards, it's Medin Yerusha, that's the Lashon of the Rashbam. It won't be the Yerusha, Lo Yershu, Yorshim Shalah, Ela Yorshim Shali. Okay. Now what happened here? Havale l'savta ahu gavra b'chad barta. He only had one daughter. He didn't have sons. Shchiva ha'i barta b'chaye balo b'chaye savta v'achak o shchiva savta v'osa balo v'katava l'fisha b'shas savas hameis haisa bitay kayamis u'kemisha omar nichsa l'savta u'basa l'biti ka'ini yarta. He becomes as a din Yerush. He comes as a din of Yerush. He wants to come as a din of Yerush. Amar Rav Huna, what did Rav Huna say? Hi, ubasa liartoi dika Amar. When I said that after Savta it goes back to my heirs, which l'chara meant midin Yerusha. Oh, Gavra liartoi v'liartoi yartoi ka'amar. He meant to my heirs and to my heirs' heirs. V'kivan shenitna liyorsha or nosna liyoshoi harei zochsa ben abbas she'oisa yeresha shelo. Now, how is that l'chayra possible? Are you talking about basal yartas kod mikoyach Yerusha? And so, what is it? How she's zaychik in the first time of the kaman, the kala ema acharecha kema me'achshuv dami. The kivan the zach salam michayim arei abal yerushes ishtay. So, l'chayra, there's a discrepancy as soon as you start. The man wrote in the first Divrei HaMaschil over there in the words of basal yartoi, he wrote. Again, Acha Moiske Nasi, Lo Yeshu Yoshim Shalah. He then gives examples and skip the line, Ela Yoshim Shali. So he's talking about a dynamic of Yerusha. Underline those words. Lo Yeshu Yoshim Shalah. Skip a line and go down to the next one, Ela Yoshim Shali. What's he saying? He explained that he's going within Yerusha. And now he's saying something totally different. He's explaining according to the Purusha of the Gemara later. That Rav Huna goes a different halacha and goes mitzadei din of what? Of kol ha'omer acharecha k'omer mi'achshuv dami. And what does that mean? It's not a halacha of Yerusha at all. One is trying to understand how does this fit with that Rishbam we just read. It's going to be a very big lav dafka. They're not going to be Yerush, but rather who's going to be Yerush? My Yerushim, not because of a din Yerusha, but because of a din matan. It's a shtickle modna, the first lashon of the Rashbam, Divrei HaMaschil basal liartoi. And that's a little understatement. Weiter. But we're going to see, l'chayra, this Pirush is going to say this whole thing is a big lav dafka. The Ran Taka writes this. He says it weiter. What does he say further? So Rav Huna said, the yarta v'afila yarta yarta. Let's read the Rashbam on that. Amar Rav Huna hayu basal liartoi de ka'amar ugavra liartoi liarta yartoi, the heirs of my heirs. Ka'amar kivan shenetna liyorsha harei zochsa behem. Since it was given to her for Yerusha, she now has it when sha'isa yeresha, because she was his heir. Okay, the first time of the command, as the Gemara says at the end, the name of Rabbi Lazar, according to that, the word heir does not mean Mikoyach Yerusha. It's just a name to who I'm giving it to. That's all it is. It's an akna. It's not that it reverts back to me, then it waits for me to die, and then she has it. No, it's a matana. She has it midin matana, just as the Sabtai was doing midin matana, also midin matana. And therefore, what Bekivman the Zachsa ben Michayim, and since she was Zeichet Michayim, she already had it as a din matana Michayim. Harei abal Yerushes Ishtoi. The Hainu Yarti Yarsoi. Now, what does that mean? I'm trying to what does that mean when we read this Rashba? Does the Baal get it now within Yerusha or within Matana? Just as you understood, you're now explaining that it doesn't mean within Yerusha, it means within Matana. Because you say Nichse v'acharecha means to say what? Then if you say that the words acharecha liyarte includes also the yarsa yarsoi, what do you say? That just like I'm giving it now to my Yarsa, I'm also giving it to Yarsa Yarsoi. So it's B'chlal not Midin Yerusha. I'm giving it to Yarsa Yarsoi. My nafkamina. Why do you think that Yarta is a din of Acharecha Yarta is a halacha of Matana? And when you say that includes Yarsa Yarsoi, that's already Yerusha. Has anybody learned this? I'm getting these eyes which say, what is he doing now? Just, Aleph face. The Kim the Zachsim Chai about Yerushes Ishtoi, the Hainu Yarti Yasoi. V'achim Mefarshli Kamei. That's how he explains at the end. I'm trying to understand. So at the end, this is what the Rashbam gave a little taktsir, a little synopsis of what we're going to see soon. It's a shita. So what does it mean? So obviously he's not talking at all Medina Yerusha. The question is to who he's makne to. If it's nichser lecha lesabta v'acharei matana to yarsa. Now what's the halacha? What happens about after? What happens if she has no? What happens? Do the other ones get him Medina Yerusha, or do you say no? Get him Medina Matana. I want to understand. We get it Medin Matana l'chayr. Why wouldn't they get it Medin Yerusha proper? And what does he say? Let's do this carefully. But now the Ram continues. V'achim mefarshli kamei umiu ashlei adin nakati tam dravuna el shirayin oisa shezikas abal v'time leyadin ad mefarshli kamon. Good. Let's read back to the Rashbam Rav Onan Omar liyarte v'lo liyarte asay ochi ki Omar. Ubasali artoi la'isad yoshim sho'oyuli ba'olam b'shah shetamus askena ani noisen es nechosai k'goyinim oisa bitoi kayemes oi ochiv oi oviv the call eile ani kayer ba'en yarsoi. When I say yarsoi, I mean who do I want to give this to? I want to give this as a matana to all those which will be. They are my heirs, meaning the ones that's a davar mavura. Who they will be depends who will be alive or dead. Avulai ben bitoy. I'm not giving this matana to ben bitoy. Kidamuchach lekamed ani yosi asoy shemikayach bitoy hu bal lirish oisoy. Vulai lebaila the iunami yosi asoy. The asoy davke kama oisma boy mikaychi. V'lo the yasi asoy aboy mikayach kaychi. Hilkach echad aleke yasoy achamois askena. Ella yarsi asoy nishar nechasim biyad yoshi askena. Because you gave him matana. You only said nacharechet. I gave him now matana mechayim to whoever is going to be later. But if there's no one later, so what do we say? So there's no one. So the matana stays the way it is. There's no acharecha lit. Why doesn't it revert back to him? And now they should have him Medin Yerusha. The daimah la'aymer nichsel l'chav acharecha l'plaini. She makes oisay sheni. This is a machlekes in Gemara. Yoshi rishon. Kidamin lekamon kufla mavava base. He makes sheni b'chay rishon yavsin nechasim liyoshi rishon. Which is also a question we have to ask. Why is that true? Why is it true that if you gave nichsel lach v'acharecha l'plaini, you're saying that if, so to speak, there is no plaini, it goes back to yoshi rishon? Why don't you say nichsel lach, but there's an acharecha? You don't have it lachar misa. If that's the case, if there's no one to give it to, so it should go back to me. I never gave it to you, lachar misa. Why should be chayzer yoshi rishon? Why shouldn't it go back to the yoshi makne? These are obvious questions which we have to ask. Why would that be a din of ochel yoshi rishon? The implication is that the makne is out of the picture totally. The question is only that since once she had what she had, Mamela, she's the owner. Why is that true? Why is it true? I repeat. So there are a few things we have to clarify here. First of all, what does it mean? Are we talking here not about Yerusha at all? He started with Yerusha, then he's talking about Hakna. And if we're talking about Hakna, so what are we saying here? We're saying Rav Huna said the Yasi Asoy means why will they get it now? The Yasi Asoy with what din? Midin Matana, not Midin Yerusha. It's Midin Matana. She's not here. I'm giving it to Yasi Asoy too. And Ravana says, no, you only gave it to Yasi. You never gave it to Yasi Asoy. So maybe what happens is at this stage, since there's no one to take it afterwards, so maybe it goes back to the Sapta. Why would it go back to Sapta? Why would it not go back to the original giver? Those are the two questions on the table. A little further, the Gemara, Zot the Gemara, it's not because there was no das makne of the Yarsi Yasor. Ella the kavasir the bal lo yoris v'lav mitamei the Ravana savar afa gav devil bro lebarte lo yoris. That even if there's this grandson there, he's not Yorish. Why? Because it was not. Why is he not Yorish? Because there was an achar. The daughter was not alive. And sorry, and I didn't give it to you. So what's blight? It goes back. There's no acharecha for the sapta. Ella Laihi. The Ilavale Brother Barte Vada Yorish. He is Yorish. What state he's Yorish? Now, why is he Yorish? Let's see Rashbam. So to Rashbam, here we are. Forgot to have the brother Barte to have the Yasi Asoy Kamer of Nachum Aron and Au Barte La Yorish. Kidikadaik listen to the Asoy Mashal Yasi Asoy Velohi. The Ila have the bra Vada Yorish Hoyavu Roy Lira Shazan Naisay. She'arei Abbas v'chol yirecha b'makim she'ein ben kaidman v'chol yitzir she'ish the Yasoy Karina Bay. It's very simple. You're also called Yasoy. So now I want to understand: are they Yorish or are they getting it b'matana? L'chayra, they're getting it b'matana, because once again, the nichsolach we're talking about a matana. Hayavu Karina Bay. Hayavu kaidam l'chol yashim v'af Abbas sheba mikrav koychot. Umikara kiyama liasoy shiel b'moisas kena kama uben bito yerishoysay the kaidim lavi v'lach v'lachoysay v'afa beib shein kurim yarsoy v'aben au kori yarsi yarsoy afilu achi kaidim the yarshim aru'uyim liyarshim minatay v'kari yarsoy. Why the Baal not? Baal lo yars lemishun dever yarsi yarsoy, but rather what the halacha, because it's roy is not moves. I want to understand, this is what the Gemara is saying. So let's put this on the table. The shaila here is about the one thing. I am giving it to Savta. And I'm saying that achareha leplaini. What's the reason behind that? So the Rashbam explains because basically, and what does Rav Blachman say? Well, let's look at the bottom. Right to the Gemara. Michlal, the Rav Huna Sava Baal Neit Beroi Ki B'Muzik Omer Belazar Dvar Davas and Nifta B'Gdan Nista Mitanim Kol Ha'em Acharech Gerem Achshav Dami. Omer Rabba Mistaver Tamer Debnei Merava Di Kodem Savta V'Zavnas Vina Zvina. Now here we have a Machlekes Rishon, Das Rashbam and Das Harif. Okay, we'll see it shortly in the Rif. Let's read the Rashbam. Rabba is basically trying to explain the reasoning of my Rava, saying that they obviously hold that what? Well, let's look at carefully. We don't hold kolayim acharecha kerem achshav dami. Because why? Because let's read the Rashbam inside. It says, the third widen outline, v'kiven the Omar ubasrole yarsoi hainu lebas hainu nami k'may shomer miyad anino saying as group akaka lebiti. He's done something unbelievable. He said that what he's done is split the ownership. She has the pay rice, and he has the daughter has the goof. That's obviously how we understand Das Bnei Adam. Okay, that's how they understood. If you hold me achshav, it means that what? That she has the goof and she has the pay rice. Let's read this inside. The choshev le'Ravuna legabe bas kematona me'hayoyim l'achar misa. V'hilkach hever lazu abas muchzekes b'chayab an nechasim chiyoris bal shapet chiyoris b'muvzik. I'm trying to figure out the language is driving me nuts. Are we talking matana? Are we talking Yerusha? The Vaita, we're talking matana here. And didn't Rashbam explain that if he holds Yerush, so it means he was Mechab and to whoever's going to be a Yerush. So he doesn't mean the Baal's going to get Midin Yerusha. The Baal's going to get Midin Akna. So why does he use what's enough community Roy and not Roy? The Teretz says he's going to say, to whom I mark them, to a person which has the Shem Yerush. And to whoever doesn't have a Shem Yerush, I'm not marking it. And here he says something really interesting. Here he said the chison of Roy by a Baal is not that he is a Yerush, but there's a technicality that he doesn't get. It's like by Pchor. There's a halacha, the Pchor doesn't have Pi Shnayim B'Roy. That's a technicality. He is a Pchor. The Shem Pchor is there, but it doesn't give him rights in Roy. So hypothetically, you can the Shem Baal is Yerush is there, but he doesn't have rights in Roy. No, Dosh Tate and Rashbam Nishta. The Pshat is a Baal is not called a Shem Yerush as far as Roy is concerned. And since he's not called Hashem Yoirish as far as Roy is concerned, so therefore, Memela, as far as he's Chassid, he doesn't have Hashem Roy Yoirish. Memela, he's not makna to him. We're not looking at Dinei Yerushia, we're looking at Dinei Akna. We're simply saying that who is he makna? He's a makna person which has Hashem Yoirish. State in Rashbam, as I can say it again, as opposed to the din of Bchor, which is the night of Muzik, not Beroy, that's not a chisor in the Shem Bchor, it's a technicality. The Shem Bchor is the Shem Bchor. Elamai Shem Bchor does not give you rights in Roy. It's the same thing you could say, the Shem Baal is a Shem Yoirish. Elamai, it doesn't give you rights in Roy. If that's the case, why would this make sense? If we're looking, who is the Yoirish? Who is my Yoirish? Okay, are you my Yerush? You're my Yerush. You get rights in Roy. You don't get rights in Roy. The pshat is you're not a Yerush as far as Roy is concerned. That's what it says over here. I'm not makna. You're not the person I'm makna to. That's what it says over here in this Rishba. Seems to be quite clear. Now, before we go further, just to elaborate on this Nakuda, I did elaborate in the past. I just want to add one small Nakuda. Not that small, but it's a Nakuda. And that is as follows. We pointed out that the irregular din Yerusha is a halacha of mishpachaisim beis havaisim. It's a halacha of mishpacha. And we pointed out it would seem to be there are two people that don't get me din mishpacha. One is called Ben Yerushas Imai or Yerushas Aviv. Okay? Yerushas Imai, it's not mishpacha sa'av. So l'chayr it's not midin mishpacha. What is it? Elohim etachtel. So there seems to be a qualitative difference between Bnai, Ben Yerushas Aviv, and Ben Yerushas Imai. Ben Yerushas Aviv is called Yerushas Mishpacha. He's also Mishpacha. Mishpachas Av, Kor Mishpacha. You're definitely Mishpachas Av. Ben Klapi Aviv is Mishpachas Av. He's also a Metachtav, as we learned the Gemara in Kedusha Yud Zayin, that the Eved Ivri is Eved Knani, is Eved Saben. Okay, that seems to be a davar pasha. We also learned the Gemara in Erchin. As far as Yud, he's also called Eved Malkem Ha'av. As far as Pidyon of Estei Achuza, it's called Pidyon Ha'av. He's Eved Malkem Ha'av. But for Yerushas Ha'av, he's also a Mishpacha. But when it comes to Yerushas Haben, as a Imai, L'chayr Mishpachas Aim is not called a Mishpacha for Yerusha. There, the Chiddush is the Yerushas L'chayr only because he's a Mitachtel. Nishkin davar pashit. And the Chayr would be that way. On the other hand, we know that the whole makar of Yerusha, of the Ben comes from the Yerusha of the daughter. Yerusha of the daughter, once again, the Yerusha of the daughter is lav davka mishpachas ha'av. If the daughter, the mother is not mishpachas ha'av, and Apple became the dinner Yerusha of the mother. And Einachanami ad kedekach, Reb Chaim ben Akasif flood, if you remember the Gemara we learned of them, Kuf Yud Aleph, that as far as action, the daughter and the son are equal. And they make say Alfutzin, the Gemara that no, this is like every other Yerusha, just like every other Yerusha, when there's a boy and a girl, the boy takes precedence. Same thing in this, the boy takes precedence. Now you could learn that in multiple ways. You could learn that although this is nothing to do with mishpacha, yet there's a law of favoring males over females. Very, very interesting. Okay, another possibility could be no. That the chiddush is that this is called, as far as this Yerusha of a mother, this is called mishpacha. The relationship of mother and son and daughter are also called a mishpacha. They're a unique din of Yerusha. It's not mishpachas av, it's a Yerusha's ha'im. But that's also a getter of mishpacha as far as Yerusha is concerned. And in Yerusha's mishpacha, like in all Yerusha's mishpacha, the klal is only bas is Yerush only b'makom she'ein ben. Afkan bas is Yerush only b'makom she'ein ben. That is a question which has to be dealt with, but since you're not learning the sugya, I just want to point that out. Those are two possibilities. Where would the nafkamina would be, for example, by Bchor? Israel didn't Bchor pi shnayim by a ben. If it only comes with God, the shoyim mitachtav is there a din of pi shnayim, l'mashal. What happens if there's two yorshim of an Eved Knani? One is a Bchor and one is a Pashut. Is it Oividus Haben twice and Oividus Pashut once, or is it equal? That's the Chayr, not within Yerusha. Israel didn't Bechor. And then you're going to ask the same type of question by Yerusha Sa'im. No lo matzanu rishum duchta. I don't know it. I haven't found it clear that there's such a halacha that, so to speak, that there's no b'chor when it comes to Yerusha Sa'im. I don't know. I haven't found it clear anywhere. Okay? Rav Meir Simcha in Hilchos Nachlis seems to bring a raya that even by the halacha of Eved, there's a din of b'chor. Now, what does that mean? It means to say it means to say that although it's not a regular Parshas Yerusha, but since that the idea of extension creates a new Parshas Yerusha. So it's also a Parshas Yerusha, a unique Parshas Yerusha, not the classical Parshas Yerusha of Mishpachas, Av, Kar, Mishpacha. It's a Yerusha of a relationship between a father and a son because of Omer B'Mkayma. It's a getter of Yerusha in one way or the other. The shaila is, what is the relationship between a, so you're a Yoirish. That's what I need to say. Because from this Rashbam, we clearly see that the son for the daughter is called a Yoirish. Yarsi. He's Yoirish. If it's just Omer B'Mkayma, Homei Chitesi, it's called Yoirish. Bishtem, he's my heir, I understand. But I'm makna to Yarsi Yarsoy, if he only comes not as a Makim Imoy and doesn't come out to Yoirish, Homei Chitesi. Mashenki, the husband, here gets very interesting, and that's as follows. I want to show you something interesting which I didn't mention last time. Open the Gemara and Daf Kuf Lamed Tes for a moment, the thing that we learned in the past. The Gemara said in Daf Kuf Lamed Tes, Amid Aleph, here we had a shaila, we know that there's a concept called Nedunya. A woman brings into the marriage different types of nechasim. Those who learned Makkos with me will remember some of this. There's Nichsei Tzayin Barzel and there's Nichsei Milug. Nichsei Milug means to say basically she brings in a certain sum of nechasim into the marriage. He has the right of Paris and she's the Baal Haguf. He has no responsibility for the value or devaluation of this thing. That's totally hers. He has a right of Paris. Then he also brings in Nichsei Tzayin Barzel. And in Nichsei Tzayin Barzel means to say he basically is mischayiv for the amount of the value of the nechasim which go into the marriage. And then it doesn't matter pichsu loy, haisiru loy. That basically those nechasim he has committed himself to their value at the time of the marriage, and that's when this marriage falls apart or by death. Then she gets that lock sum. She basically has a lump sum there. That's the halach of Nichsei Tzayin Barzel. Now, in this concept of Nedunya, now it's very hard to put it in any specific category. Because on one hand, the Gemara says first that if the Nichsei Tzayin Barzel, the husband is Yoresh. The Mishnah in Makos. Anybody learned Tav Gim Lamed Aleph? Imesa Yira Shena, right? Everybody knows the Rashi there. We're talking on Nichsei Tzayin Barzel. No, I want that the Pichsai Pichsulai. If it appreciates, it's his. He loses. If it appreciates, it's his. Yet he's not the Bailim. He's called the Yoresh. We're not going there, and I don't think to explain all that. One day, if you ever learn Makos again in my Bismedrash, or those like Elazar smiling, he probably remembers something. I'm hoping, and then you understand what the getter is. Whatever it is, we look at the dunya with Hagdoras of its own. Why do I say that? Because, for example, when the Chazal said that she brings in Nichsei Tzayin Barzel, she brings in Nichsei Melug, he eats the Peirosh. The Chazal actually clear. What does it mean in the laws of the dunya? What's happening here? So let's look at the Gemara. The Gemara says in the middle of Kuf Lamed Tes Amud Aleph, Sholach la'avur ba'geniva le'Rava Yelamdenu Rabbeinu Lovsa. She took a loan, va'achla, and she ate up the money. We discussed that in the past. V'amdav, and so then she got up and decided to get herself married. And now she's brought in Nichsei Melug and Nichsei Tzayin Barzel into the marriage. What does that mean? Rashba. V'amdav and Nisis, it's the fifth widened out line on the page, Kuf Lamed Tes Amud Aleph. V'ichnisa kol nechaseh leba'ala. She brought all the nechasim to her husband, whether it was Nichsei Tzayin Barzel or Nichsei Melug. Baal lekech have a mi shavir abanan v'nichsei ishtoi bein b'chayeh bein la'acher misa kidin lekech. Does it mean to say that basically he now has rights because she basically gave him rights? She gave him a matana, or whatever it be. If it's nichse in Basel, it could be like a mekach. It's if it's a nichse maluk. So l'chari is not mischayiv for it. He only has rights because he's mafarneser with other things. There's a trade here. He got rights. So what do we say? It's like a loikeach. And since it's like a keach, what's the halacha? The rights he has now in the karka are the rights of a loikeach. What's the din? A milva that she owes can be collected from a loikeach. It's as if she gave her nechasim and gave it to a loikeach, so the Baal Chayv can be given from a loikeach. Oy kedin Yerush. No, obviously it doesn't mean Yerush in the classical sense. She's alive, goodness sakes. It means they took the ideas in the dunya, they formed it like a Yerush. I want us to understand what it is. That's why I had to add this Hagdama. They made their own Hagdosh to Yerusha. He's not it's not Yerusha, but he's called Ki Yerush. In other words, that's the rights that he has. Ki Yerush. V'naf kamina. L'chol dinim achalukim and mekach Yerusha. Whatever there'll be a difference in halacha in mekach Yerusha, how do we define the rights that the husband has in nichse meluk, that he eats the peiros and she has the guf? Here's the story in front of us. She's the bala guf. He's the achaychel peiros. Is he a lekeach or is he a Yerush? You understand it immediately. Why? What do you do with the machlekes of ki and peshka ki and a guf or not ki and a guf? One would almost say it's not that relevant. Here we'll see shortly that it is. Okay, that's a Gemara in Daf Nun. Okay, we'll see that shortly. And what does the Gemara say? The Gemara brings Raiza hin, the Raiza here. Finally, the Gemara says as follows. Omer lay, if you go down to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th line from the bottom going up. Omer lay, Rabbah said, this question was asked to Rava. Asked to Rabbah, they asked it to Rava. What did Rava say? Tanina, we learned it in a Mishnah. It says, Nasu Gedailos, what happens if a person died and he left Nechasim, and the older ones, girls, got married? So we say, Yisu, before they made a chalukah of the assets, she got married and she took from the Tvusas Abayis to get married. Yisu, Ketanois. What does Yisuk Tanis mean? My love, Nasu Gedailis Labal, Yisuk Tanis mi Baal. Since Nasu Tanis mi Baal, so now they took the Nechasim before Chalukah and gave it into Nixim and Lug. Now the Ktanis are going to collect from the Baal, which has them, because brother dear, she also has to get married. So that's a chayv without a star, and you're going from the husband. So we see that what he's not lelekech, he's a yoresh. Because if it would be like a lekech, you're not going from a lekech with a milva without a star. Like Moses loy, no, so gedailos lebal, yisuktanis lebal. No, saying that just like the elder ones took before the chalukah, and that's a chayv. We can't say that once they divide it afterwards, that the young ones have to pay from their own chalik. We say no. The tfusa, whoever it is, the older ones owe that money for the marriage of the minor. This is what the Gemara says. Maybe that's different. Since we're talking about parnasa for a wedding of a child, that's something which has kol, and since it has kol, it's like a milvah shebishtar. So the Gemara, Amalei Rapapala Rava, Lav Hainu Deshalach Ravim Beikarte. Isn't this question that you're dealing with a Baal, a Keach, or a Yerush, something that Ravin already sent in his famous epistle? What did he say? Mi shemeis ve'iniach almana ubas almanasai nizaynis minchasav. Mi shemeis ve'iniach almana ubas almanasai nizaynis minchasav. Nisis habal almanasai nizaynis minchasav. Mesa nisis habas almanasai nizaynis minchasav. Mesa habas. Amarav Yehuda ben Achoisa Sheb Yosef Bechanina Ayodi Hoya Maisa VeAmru Amanasa Nizaynes Ben Achasav I Amar Bishlemi Yerush Hava Mishum Hoche Amanasa Nizaynes Ben Achasav Ali I Amris Lekeach Hava Amain Nizaynes Ben Achasav Zot Rashba. It says as follows: Amanasa Nizaynes B'tnai Ksuba. Shekach kosov la'at yasver basi. You will sit in my house. Umitzene minachasa. You will be sustained from my assets. Call you may make out as long as you're an almana in the house. Unless she's about to get married, then there's no more mezainis. Nisas Abbas v'chnisa nechasim labayla. So what's the din then? Amanasai nizainis minachasav. Because now the mois of the ksuba are found by the baal. Mesa Abbas v'yosha baal. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rahu, Amar Amanasa nizainis the la'olam nizainis achiti nasai. O shetitvik subasa. O sheyutza yoshim litlan subasa. Iyam bishta babu nichse yishtafilu b'chayach yorishu. Mishum achik tanin nisis Abbas Amanasai nizainis minachasav. Afagav de mazana isha v'abanais leitavim mishabde. It's some for Gemara. That's the halacha. Elai amit leikeachave. Amay nizainis vatnam banizakin. Ein moitziin lemazna isha v'abanin nechasim shubadim leitikin olam. There's no gevia from Mishubadim, from his zainas. So why is it that the Baal, the Almana is zainas from the Nichsim Alug, which are now found by the Baal? L'chayre, the Baal is like a loikeyach, and we don't collect from a loikeyach. So it's a riot that the Baal is a yairish. This is the Gemara. Omer Abai. So what are we talking about? We're talking about Michayim. 50 question. What is my rights, Michayim? Omer Abai. Ilav the Sholach Ravin. Anan lo yadina. You really mean it? That without this letter of Ravin, which tells us this halacha, that an almana is mizainis from her mizainis from the nichsim alug, which the bat had with bas have, which is now in the hands of the husband. It's a before Mishnah. What's the Mishnah? Elu ein she'ein chayzes b'yovel. This is what does not go back in yovel. Yeah, it's some chayres. Ha-b'chayra. B'chayra doesn't go back in yovel at Rashi. What nam be-b'chayra? She'en chayzen ba'aleim, she'en chayzen ela mimka. This is not mimka. Ha-b'chayra chelik b'chayra b'chor. Ki nefar sh'osem atonika rachmana lost like pishnayim. It's called matana. It's not called a mecher. So that definitely goes. And what else? Va'yoresh es ishtai. And he's yoresh his wife. So what do we see from there? See, it doesn't go back to Yovel. That when you when you're yoresh after her death, you're called a what? You're called a yoresh. You're not called a lokuach. Then what does a patch with a good Shabbos? We're asking Mechayim. And now you bring me a raya from Lacher Misa. The question was, what's the rights of the Baal and Nichsim Alug Michaya Ishtoi? Is it like a Yerush or is it like a Leikech? And we pointed out he's a Yerush because the fact of the matter is that the Isha, the Almana, is gaiva from her Mezainis, from him, from the son-in-law, which is now the owner of the Nichsim Alug. Why? Because he's a Yerush. Because if he'd be a Leikech, she couldn't be gaiva from Shibud, from the Kufas. So Gemara abides itself in a Mishnah. It said that after death, and he's Yerisher, then you're called, that's called Yerusha, and it's not called Mekach Memka. And it's obvious that we say that what the halacha, there's no Yovel. Now, for goodness sakes, help me. What does one have to do with the other? Zot Rashbam, in Kufla Mites Amid Beis, the first Rashbam on the page. By Yerish is Ishtay. Mefaresh. Hasam kesava Yerushis abal de'iraisa. V'ilay keveh hava mishash nas'a afilu la'achar misa le'nafkem chal mekach u'memker u'tehader be'yovel. Sot the Rashba. Yerushis abal is de'iraisa. But if he's a leikeach already michayim, so he's never a Yerush. Whatever he has, he had before, it was his own. What's he going to be Yerush? That which is his. You can only be a Yerush or something which isn't yours. But if you're called a Leikeach, then for goodness sakes, afterwards, if it's Terai, Yerush the Baal Deiraisa, what do you want? I was a Leikeach, I'm a Leikeach, so how could there be a Yerusha later? Look at the Lashon Rashbam. V'i Leikeach have a Mishashin Nas'a, afilu achamitz nafka michlal mekach. It hasn't gone away from the din of Mekach. Nothing changed. And she died. What's the difference? I'm the same Leikech. But the Hada b'Yovel, and therefore she go back to Yovel. The Rashbam is a medrash pliya, because l'chayra Taisa asked the question. I don't understand. What's he lekech for Michayim? On the peirosh, not on the guf. He has peirosh, and the guf belongs to her. And so he's a lekech on the peirosh. Person sells only peirosh and not guf. Okay? Lechatchi only peirosh and not guf. Okay, so you're the bala peirosh. I can also sell you the guf. La'alocha, by the way, we pass on like Reb Yochanan and Ki and peirosh lavka ki and agufu. Before I go further, I just want people to remember this, unless they look at the sugi, they may get a little mixed up. So la'alocha, we pass on like Reb Shlakish, Ki and peirosh lavka ki and agufu. Just want to put this to clarify, we shouldn't make stupid mistakes. He was He was the bala peirosh, and now he's the bala guf. The bala guf is a yovish, on the peirosh he's a lekech. They're shame. What's the problem? Now the shaila is that the chiddush that he's that's why it's not a lekech. So ein achanami, as far as the peirosh are concerned, we can now declare that that's if halacha that should be yochayzer b'yovel. Mashenkin, as far as the guf, it shouldn't be that way, and that would be now an interesting shaila, because once he became the bala guf, if he's the bala guf, is not that not a reason the peirosh should belong to him? That's an interesting question. But this is a case here, because l'chayr, what the pshat in the Baal basically has peirosh, and the lady has the guf, but after she dies, he should have the guf. And where should he, and if he, because he's a Yerush, that's very nice. This question is asked by Taisvus. Tais is asking if Amasa by Yerush is Ishtai, Pirish Bekuntris, V'yever lekech michayim, gam la'achamisa le'paka. V'hever lekech. So Tais says, V'ein nira, this makes no sense. The hamichayim ein lei ela peirosh. So it's very nice, he's a lekech of peirosh, but he's not a lekech of the guf. And for the guf, he's a Yerush. V'nira l'ri l'faresh, the miboyle im bal Yerush have oy lekech have ben michayim ben la'achamisa. Middelay maflig midi. His question is in both. Even after Misa, is he called a lekech or is he called a Yerush? This becomes interesting. Upashit midiravin, the lechol apachas have a Yerush la'achamisa, at least a Yerush la'achamisa, but nothing to do with this. We don't have a raya as far as what the din is mechayim. Kidikamer meisa abbas hamanasa nizoynis menachasav apapisha bal yosha. Ava michayim ein leichiach midvar deva Yerush. This is what he holds. So what do we have here? We have an interesting machlek. It's a problematic gemara. If we would know more about the Gedor of Ki and Peirosh, Ki and Aguf, this would be a pleasure to talk about. But we have to limit this. So l'chayra, we have a machlekes here, Rashbam and the Balei HaTaisus, the Ri. The Ri believes that Ein Chanami. He believed that the suffix was also Bein Michayim Bein Achamisa. Is he called a Yerush or a lekech? The question is, within the dunya, even Achamisa is not really Yerusha. It's also lekech. Those who know the Mishnah in Makish Tav Gimel understand this totally. The Gemara uses a lotion of Yerusha there, and l'chayre it's not Yerusha. By Nifzei Tzayin Barzel, it's not a classical Yerusha. But those who remember this has to just you go back to your notes. Those who don't, Nishka Fairless. What does Taisa say? Taisa wants to know this group is the subject of the Gemara is a Baal B'Nichsei Ishtoi, a Yerush or a Lekech La'achar Misa. He's the Lekech. A. B. There's another question. What is he Michayim? And he thinks that the two issues are not totally in each other. Michayim, the question is only on the peirosh. La'achar Misa, the question's on the guf. What's the shaila? Whether Yerusha is a Baal is a get of Mekech Memker, or it's a proper din Yerusha. What does he say? He proves from Rav that at least Yerusha is a Baal is what is called a Yerush. It's not called Mekech Memker. But as far as the Peiros Michayim, that's still a suffix. That's what Taisus understands. Mashenki, according to Rashbam, the issues are interwoven. Rashbam takes for granted the word Yerush means a proper Yerush. Elamai, the question is, if you were a Lekech Michayim, you can't be a Yerush afterwards. Afal Pi that L'chayra you're a Yerush on the Peiros, A Yekech on the Paris, what's it got to do with the goof? Is what steht in Rashbam? No. That if you're a Lekech Mechayim, Al Kochach, you're not a Yerush even on the goof Lacher Misa. Why? What's the pshat in Rashbam? It seems to be clear as day that Rashbam understood that the Yerusha of a Baal is not a classical din Yerusha, as we pointed out. What is it? It's basically the development of the moment you only had Peiros. And there's a certain reality that we will now see as soon as we get further in our sugya, that the Baal of Peiros ultimately becomes also the Baal Haguf. This in the case of Mayem al-Acher Misa, we'll get there shortly. Baal of Peiros ultimately becomes also the Baal Haguf. The question is, this is an extension or a hashlama of the original Bailus. The original Bailus was, if he was a lekech, he originally buys the pshat, he has now rights of an acquirer. He originally acquired the peiros and has the guf lacher misa. And that's what's called Yerusha. Yerusha means hashlama of his zchuyas mammon. All based in the din of nedunya. That's one halacha. Okay? The pshat is nothing more than the I would say the blossoming of his zchuyas mammon. Originally he only had the peiros and the guf, and now he gets the whole thing, the guf for the guf. That only makes sense if that's true. That's only if we're going to say he was a lekech. And if he was a Yairish, it's the same thing. They formed his ownership as a schus Yairish, and that develops into a Yairish, not just on the Peiros, but also on the Guf Lacher Misa. In other words, he does not think at all that the Pasha of Yerushas Abal is a din of Yerusha in any sense, form, or size. Yerushas Abal is even less than Yerushas Haben. Yerushas Haben is some kind of a Parshas Yerusha because Oimet Tachtel. As we pointed out, that's why the din is the ben is Kaidin Labas, and B'Malkim ben, there's no Yerusha the Bas. We also know Lamai said this is a Shaila, maybe he has even a din of Pishnayim, country of Meir Simcha, in Perik Aleph Nachlas, he does have a din of Pishnayim. It's also Michas Chinuch in Simon Membeis. But there are Meir Simchas, I think I sent you the Meir Simcha, that's where you can look it up. I think I sent it last time when we learned this Yerusha Sabal thing. Okay? That's something else. Masha Enkein, Baal is not that at all. What it is this is good for the Shal Gemara. When the Baal is not a Yerush. The Baal is not a Yerush. The Baal, at the best, has a right of having your nechasim because he's Aymer Tachtea because of Basar Echad. What's the Agdora there? As a Taisha said, it's a getter of Basar Echad, She'er. That's how Taisha decides what it is. Rashbam understands what it is basically it's Allah in Hilchas Nedunya. That he is Yerush, her nechasim, either Nichsat Melug or Nichsat Melug. And what it means to say that which he had develops into not just having payers, but also having guf. That's all this is. It's nothing more than a second stage development of what you had before. Therefore, Rashbam understands that if you were a Lekeach before, you can't become a Yerush. Now, at the best, your Lekicha developed from poor payers into guf. If you were a Yerush before, so your Yerusha in the Schus Mama, which Chazal defined as a Yerusha, as a quasi Yerusha, means rights like a Yerush. That's what it means. In the Paris, now you add those rights in the guf. Otherwise, this Rashbam makes no sense. That's the Shittas of Rashbam. Why do I come to one Nakuda alone? He's never a Yerush. The Baal is never really a Yerush. So if that's the case, the question is, does he have a shame Yerush per se? Does he have a shame Yerush per se? So what does he have? He has a person which will basically realize the total ownership of what he had before. Now here we have an interesting reality. We're talking that the Baal didn't have the Nechasim yet. It was supposed to come to his wife. And now he was supposed to have it. Okay? What does that mean? That means basically he's supposed to have like Michayim. He's supposed to be either a Yerush or like Michayim. Or no, when she's dead, he should be doing the same thing. It's halacha to become either a ki Yerush or a ki Lekeach. That's what this is. It's not a proper din of Yerusha anyway. That's what I want to point out. from the Rashbam is Muchach and Kufla Metesim and Beis, that it's not a regular din of Yerusha. She's not Yerusha's Mishpacha. It's not Yerusha of Kom Tachteha, okay, in the classical sense. So what is it? Toisus writes in Kuf Yudalia Aleph, what is it? It's the halacha of what? Of Yerusha, of She'er, Basar Echad. Could be. Toisus under Rashbam understand the Agdori is, it's Ashlomis Askuyos of the moment. That's what it is. It's not a parsha of Yerusha in the classical sense. Once it's not a parsha of Yerusha in the classical sense, this is the pshat in this Rashbam. So the Rashbam says very simply, that when we talk about the Baal, we're talking, who are you mocked into? I'm not mocked into the Baal. The Baal is not in my Yerush. He doesn't have a Shem Yerush. If we hold Lamais, he doesn't have a Shem Yerush. He's not a Yerush in the classical sense. He's a din. He has a dini bailis like a Yerush. What he's doing is goes into her place and he takes over her ownership. He's not a Yerush in Parshas Yerusha. If beforehand we said it's just it's even more than what we said last time. Last time we pointed out it's not in Yerusha, it's only come tachtov. Now I'm adding more in the Rashbam. We see it's not even that the din of Yerusha Sabal is nothing more than a halacha that basically that woman is which is there, which is hers. He basically owns it. That's the halacha of the Yerusha here, and that is implied in the lashon of the Mishnah. Those who learn in Makkos will appreciate that the lashon of the Mishnah and Nichsei Tzayin Barza, which after she dies, basically he owns it. He basically paid for it before. What happened? She put it in the chasim, and he committed a certain amount of money that he owes her for the value. Basically, it's a milva. She gave him the nechasim. He paid for it with a milva. So l'chayr, what happens when she dies? He doesn't owe the milva to anybody. So it's his. The Mishnah calls that Yerusha. Gimel Amud Aleph, Ki Meisa Yerushena. I say this for a purpose, because the get of Yerusha does not have to mean the classical idea of Yerusha. When it comes to Baal, it means he realizes total ownership. That's the lashon of the Mishnah, Daf Gimel Amud Aleph and Makis. Those who read it know it will know it. So this is probably what's happening here. So now I understand. Before I go further, we're looking here at the basic halacha. This is very important. Why do I say this? Because the Rishonim asked the question. It's live dafka. We're talking about Yerusha. There's no Yerusha here. The answer is you're right. We're not talking about Yerusha. We're talking about Akna. And if there's going to be an ownership of the husband, it's going to be because the first guy, the father-in-law was makna to him. If we hold Yarsa Yarsa, that's the getter in front of us. That's point number one, which had to be very clarified. Now the point number two is something which really has to be understood. Lamaisa, the Balamor argues with the Rashbam. I want to see the Rif. If you open up your Rif. So the Rif is in Ois V'Hadar in page Kufmem, Vav Kufmem Zayin. Zok the Rif, let's just see the Rif. If you go Kufmem Vav, the last three lines, Hichza Kavasei, the Bala Yos, V'Lav Metamei. Di is Slay Bra Yoris. Ubal, Hainu Time Glo Yoris, Mishun Devle, Roy, Ven Abal Noit the Broi Kiva Muzik. Michlaud, Ravuna Sava, the Bal Noit Roy Kiva Muzik. Omer Abulazar, Dover the Nifta, Bigdad, and Stein Biktanim, Kalaima, Charech, Gamer Makshav Dami. But let's Hichza Kavasei. And we don't paskin like that. We don't pass that way. Why don't we pass that way? Because he understands that's the Shatan Rava that Mistaver time of the Bema Rava is because he also Savah Zavnas Vinas Vina. So Al Kochach, we can't say that she has the guf and she has the Perus. That's what the Rashbam says. And that's how all the Rishonim understood the Rif, that the Rav is doing nothing more than pointing out the Raya that if we don't say because if you say what would the halacha be? The guf would belong to the daughter and the payers to the Savta. That can't be, because the fact of the matter is that the Savta can sell it, there won't be anything left. This is the machlekes of Shimon Gamliel and Rabbanan that we're going to have to see tomorrow. So we look here at the Balamor for a moment. On page Kuf Mem Zayin in Ois V'Hadar, but Ma'aseh the Savta Kosva Arif the less Hichzik Ravuna the Ola Kavayim Acharech Gem Achshav Dami. But I kinna may time Dama Acharecha Hama may Achshav Mugzaku Ubal Yorisla. Uldidan Laim Mistaverlan. Maida Omar Harav. I can't accept this. The Adkan Le Itcha de Ravuna Ela mishum de kivan de I kadma savda v'zavna zvina royu. No one said that the pshat is that that the daughter doesn't have the goof. But what she hears is called roy. The machlekes here, he disagrees with the Rashbam and the Rif. He doesn't think by the fact that Safta can sell it and there won't be anything left for the daughter, that means to say that the daughter doesn't have the goof. It only means to say that whatever will be left will be called roya, not muzik. Rav Huna namile poligahai di ikod masavta v'zavnas v'ina. Below ashkechan amayra de poligale. The ben Rabbi Yechon ben Rishlok is kaiman halacha of Shimon Gamliel. I hope you saw this inside. It's already late, but we'll see. Ela kesav Rav Huna di ikod masavta v'zavnas v'ina. Kiven the hashta mia haloi zavna. B'chalaim ha'achrech karim yachshav dami. Muchzaku v'loi royu bal yorisli. Rava de Mefarish Tamay ben Rava Aliba de Avshay. Svilik or Echadi Kadim v'zavnas v'ina zvil lav muchzaku elroy hilkach afkav dem ashav nami royu. What is the shorish hamachlekes? Rashbam and Rif understand that if she can sell it and there's nothing left, so it can't be that she has the goof. And Rashbam and Rav said that's not true. He doesn't argue that pshat is that she has the goof and she has the payers, but I can still sell. Because what you have is not the goof proper, only what is mishuya from the goof. And this has to be explained. So we're going to have to see this Gemara in Kuf Lamed Vav tomorrow to understand the Machlekes of Shimon Gamliel and Rabbanan and understand this. Overall, there's one big, I sent you today an important Shuvas Reb Kiva Eger, which really should be looked into. The obvious question is when a man gives a present, the Gemara in Daf Kuf Lamed Hey or Kuf Lamed Vav, if you want, when he says, a person says, Mayoim ula'achar misa. What happens exactly? If you read carefully in the Rishonim, you read the Rashbam, you read Ritva, you read Mukhi Yosef, you will see that the pshat is that the kinyan finishes achar misa. Now, what does that mean? How does a kinyan finish after misa? Why can't you make a kinyan after misa? So if you read carefully in Rashbam, the Rashbam writes over there in Kuf Lamed Hey Amid Beis, Kuf Lamed Vav, that basically you can't make a kinyan on something that when it's there, you won't be able to sell it. Language of Rashbam is, if you look at Kuf Lamed Hey Amid Beis, in literally the first widened out line. I'm going up one line beforehand. Aviloy have a kosher ma'yoim eino kinyan. The ein matana la'achar misa. Why? You can't give a matana la'achar misa. Why not? Shrei en koyach la'odom litein mikaydim lachein davar shal yuchol la'haknis b'oisei azman. Shehu rotzeh shetitkayem matana. You can't give before something that you wouldn't be able to give at the time that you want to give it. And if you want to give it after Misa, you can't give it now. That should be with Lachar Misa. V'achar Misa, heich yuchal adam litain, achesha meis v'nikvar. Very dramatic. He is dead and buried. Please explain why not. What is the reason that you cannot give something after death? Is it a technical reason because dead people can't make transactions? Is it a qualitative reason because you don't own it after death? Or is it there's a limitation in your ownership post-death? It's not the ownership which is transferable. The three options: external technicality, total lack of ownership, or limitation of ownership equals an ownership which doesn't have within the capability of transfer. Those are three possibilities on the table to explain this Rashba. I need you to explain this. This is obviously going to put you into a question of the relationship between guf and peiros. One has to understand that. For example, is there a possibility, something which can, isuri anor, do you own it in any fashion, form, or size? So I'm going to tell you right now, it's a big machlekes harishon. The Raja writes in Tshuva Mefurish that isuri anor are not called lachem, period. The Ravid says the same thing. The Ravid is in Sukkah. I mentioned it. Let me just bring it down the table. The Ravid is in, where is it? Lamed Vav. 1 minute. The Ravid is in Sukkah let me just find it for 1 minute. That's before. 1 minute. Right, Lamed Dalad Amid Beis, the Ritva is Divra Masl Shel Orla. The Ravid writes over there that something which is Osir Ba'anoah, it's not called Lachem, and there's not even an Isser Gazel. The Ritva disagrees, and the Ritva writes, his language is, no, as long as he writes as follows. Kol shu shelo ve'ein bo la'achein reshus b'schus lachem karinam bei. Right. He doesn't say there is an Isser Gazel. He says, but you don't have any rights in it, and I have rights in it, and you don't. Therefore, it's called lachem. In other words, there's no Isser Gazel. Listen to this carefully. I have no usages, yet it's called lachem because you don't have rights in it. It would seem to be that everyone agrees, even though there's no Isser Gazel by Yisur Ha'anah. Alpha became the question. The Ravid said, well, since I have no usage for it at all, and there's not even restrictive ownership, it's not yours. It's as simple as that. Mashenka, the Ritva says, no, interesting. There may not be any restriction of Leisigzal. He doesn't argue openly, he said there's an Isser Leisigzal. He simply says, by the bare fact that you don't have rights in it, and that's true. That's all he writes. You don't have rights in it. Koshu shaloi ve'ein bo lachem reshus v'schus lachem karina bay. That's all. Now, what does it mean? What do you have in it? So he's implying there's some kind of ownership that you have, which is, although it don't have the restriction of Leisigzal, Afal Piken, there's a certain core relationship that you have that someone else doesn't have. There seems to be one small machlekes here between the Ravid and the Ritva, whether a surah or whether there's no practical application of ownership. Is there a concept of ownership without any practical application of ownership? That's what we're talking about. Is there a musig of ownership which is not restricted and not and no practical positive application? Yet, since I had acquired it and now it's also been up, for example, Orla. The reason of owning this is mine because I own the tree, and now it developed into Orla. Now, the reason of ownership lies in this fruit. Just it can't practically be realized because there's something happening here. But the core reason of it being shaykh to me is because I own the tree. The koyach hatzmicha developed. So there's something core there. It's something I had, which developed into this Frankenstein. There we say it's still called, although there's no Yisur Gazel, etc. The Ravid says no. Once there's no practical reality, that core is meaningless and it's just goodbye. That's in the Nekudas HaMachlekes, the Ritva and the Ravid. I want you to know. There's also a famous Shuvas Rashba on this, but just read this will be enough. This seems to be a Nekuda. What we have here is that without peiros, there's no guf. Without any usages, there's no guf. Now, this is implied in a Rashbam, a very important Rashbam, in Daf Nun, Amid Aleph, Divra Amasko, Kikiyin Haguf Dami, where the Rashbam writes, Klaimar, when a person gives Makna Kiyim Peiros to somebody, Rabbi Yechon says, Keilu, Kiyim Peiros, Kikiyin Haguf Dami. So the Rashbam Klaimar, Keilu Kana Gufo. Ki'ilu, I love the word ki'ilu. Always love that word. Ki'ilu kana gufo. Why? V'oisai she'ein lai peiros. What happens if I have the peiros and you have the guf? Oisai she'ein lai peiros. Ein kiyin aguf sheyesh le'be'evet klum. What happened is we emptied it out. It's meaningless. That is reminiscent of what we just discussed by Yisurei Anot. The Ein Gufo Omeid Ela Lepeirosav. A goof without perish is garnished. It's a meaningless reality. Therefore, if I have the total perish and you have the goof, your key in a goof is meaningless. That's interesting. The Hilkach Rishon Kari Adam. So we have something interesting. We're not saying that the other. There's 2 points here. If you hold key and perish, key in a goof, A, the Baal HaGuf without perish, he's not a partner. He has a meaningless shell. He has a relationship, but since it has no practical expression, it's meaningless. This is reminiscent of that Raiva that we learned, or that Ritva that we learned in Lamedal and Sukkah. But what the other side he's saying, look, he is saying that the other person has a key in a goof, just it's meaningless. Yet he's saying the Baal key in a perish is key in a goof. What does that mean? And there's the Nekudas HaMachlekes of Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish. What does Ke'ilu mean? That's what we have to understand. What is Ke'ilu Kana Gufay? And how does this reflect? There's 2 points here. A, you are Ke'ilu Kana Guf, and the other one's Guf became meaningless. It's all based on one Nekuda. And that is, his Lashon is, that what? En Gufo Omed Elo Lepeirosav. Look at those words. That is the key to that Deya. Guf is defined by Peiros. And if you have Peiros and the other one's Guf is meaningless, you are the owner of Guf for the Peiros. Ke'ilu kana is a Guf. What happens here? That's what I need you to understand. When you look at this thing carefully and you understand this halacha, then tomorrow we will go into Rish Lakish and we'll learn the sugya. Bye. See you. Hard work. Have a great night. Afternoon, whatever it is.